This week we are turbocharging our Amazon dirt bike, but not with a normal turbo like this one. We are going to be 3D printing one of our very own. I've seen a ton of print files for turbos on the internet, but I've never actually seen one make boost. So let's get to printing this thing and see if we can't make that happen. We got our turbo on the computer and this thing is looking sick. We've got the turbine, we got the housing, the back plate. Now the only thing I'm thinking is this might not have enough power to spool as fast as we need it to. So we're also going to add a gearbox and then we can print all of these things and see if they work. Our gearbox setup is all ready to go, and the really cool thing about 3D printing is all of these designs were already made on the internet and ready to go for us. We just had to scale things down a little bit. This is a 4:1 gear ratio, so every time the big gear spins, the small gear should spin 4 times, which means our turbo will be spooling a lot faster. Our turbo setup just finished printing, and all the things you see in front of you took 8.5 hours to print. And that's mainly because these parts are 100% infill, which just means they're solid plastic. And they need to be because all of these components are gonna be spinning at 100,000 RPM, which is criminally fast. So hopefully it's strong. I don't know if it's gonna work, but let's just put it together and see. It's so crazy what 3D printers can do. If you see this, it created some plastic threads. Then we just took a nut, threaded right on there. I don't know if it's gonna hold up, but that's pretty cool. That spins way better than I thought. We do have this bearing back here holding it, but that will do. I think that's gonna work really well. If this doesn't just
Well, yeah.
blow apart. That is gonna push some air.
I think so.
That's crazy. We're living in the future. Wow, that has less shaft play than the turbo on the Benz truck. It's pretty impressive.
It doesn't take much to have less shaft play than that, though.
I think that turbo is completely toast.
Yeah, probably.
We got our turbo put together and it is working flawlessly, but you might have started to realize that it doesn't have a hot side like a normal turbo that would connect to an exhaust. And that's because we're going fully electric. So we ran down to our local hobby store, picked up some motors, picked up some batteries, and we've just got to figure out how to adapt them to the back of this thing. And the really cool thing about this design is this shaft is a 4:1 ratio. So when you spin this 1 time, it spins the turbine 4 times, which should spin really quickly with an electric motor. I'm hoping we can spin this whole setup enough to create like 2 pounds of boost. But before we figure that out, we might have gotten a little carried away at the hobby store and picked up some of the coolest RC cars I've ever seen. So we're gonna take a little intermission and go play with them. Oh man. That is so much fun.
I'm sad that mine's dead now. I want to keep driving it. It's so sick.
I feel like I could drive these things for hours.
Yeah, I understand why people like these things now.
But I guess we have to go design our turbo setup.
We're gonna plug these in while we're doing that though.
Yeah, we
Definitely.
have to keep going.
Yeah.
To get this power from the motor to our turbo, we're gonna be using these gears out of a little RC car, I'd assume. And we just have to adapt this gear to fit on this piece right here. And then we'll make some simple mount that bolts to the back of the turbo, holds this motor, and then we can see if it spools up. Hopefully this drill bit doesn't screw up this plastic. I feel like every time I'm trying to drill something very precisely, the drill bit screws it up. But
Hopefully it doesn't crack it.
that's what I'm worried
Pretty
about,
thin.
dude. That feels so dangerous. We could just put screws through these into the table, and then that would probably work.
That would work.
This is one of the good things about having a wooden table. We're not fancy around here, but we've got some pretty nice things.
Did that just break?
It will be fine.
Okay. RC parts seem really fragile.
Yeah, they're so tiny too. I don't know if this is gonna work, but
I'm not sure either.
I don't really know how else we're gonna power that because we can't power it directly. That would just wouldn't do.
No, that wouldn't work.
So it's either a belt or a gear, and I feel like they've kind of figured it out. Oh, a perfect fit, I think.
Really?
Yeah, it's like chef's kiss.
Nice.
Hey, that's pretty good.
Okay.
Now we just gotta move on to the motor. Figure out how we're gonna get that on this. We were trying to come up with ways to mount the motor, and Taylor had a pretty good idea of just taking a bolt and putting it in here, and then taking these clamps and clamping around the bolt to the motor. I think that it might turn it a little bit. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do two bolts. One will hold the motor and one will stop the motor from swinging around and messing up our plastic gear. It might work.
I think it will work, but
It's a lot of guessing. We're playing the
Yeah.
guessing game right now. It's kind of late. We were playing with the RC cars for a really long time. Got a little extra session in.
it's dark out now.
And yeah, so we're just thinking, but I think this is gonna work. Oh, I think this is gonna work pretty nicely, dude.
I feel like this just might work.
It really might just work. I kind of felt like it might have been janky at first, and it is.
It is janky, yeah.
I think it will hold it.
The whole turbo really looks like it came in a McDonald's kids meal.
It does. Is this gonna work?
I don't know.
Last night we got our motor hooked up to our turbo, and this thing is ready to go. We've just got to hook up our battery and it should spool up. I'm a little nervous though, because this thing is made completely out of plastic. It was made in a day. So we've got it zip tied down to the table. We've also got our bum blast shield. We're taking all the precautions, got our safety glasses on, because it very well could speed up to around 100,000 RPM, which is crazy. Are you ready, dude?
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm kind of scared, but
I'm very nervous. We'll get behind the blast shield, hook it up, and see what it does. We don't know the rotation of this motor, so the turbo might be spooling backwards. Also, our fan blade is kind of hitting the housing just a little bit. That's what makes me mainly super nervous.
feels like we're getting behind the blast shield on like a Mythbusters episode.
I know, I just don't know what's gonna happen. I have never seen this done, and maybe there's a reason for that. I guess we just gotta plug it in and see.
Okay.
Are you ready?
I guess so, yeah.
All right, connecting the first terminal. Oh,
Okay.
this is when it could all go wrong, dude.
Okay, what was that? Smoke.
These wires are so small, I don't think they're good enough. I don't think that's gonna do.
Yeah, it instantly melted at the end.
That means we're gonna have to get closer. All right, I'm suiting up. This should work though. I feel like the problem was the wires.
I think so, yeah.
All right, are we ready?
I think we're ready.
What the? Our motor just blew up.
Oh!
I wonder if our clamp method like squished the motor.
Maybe we clamped it too much?
I don't know. I don't know what is happening. That thing should spin up crazy
Yeah,
fast.
that's not fast.
That's not good. We went to the hobby store, got a bigger motor, got a smaller gear. I'm thinking this whole system is gonna work now. This is meant for a lot more torque, which we really need, and I think that's why our last motor blew up. And we also had a very large sprocket. This is about half the size of the sprocket that we had on last time. And if that doesn't work, we also got a bigger main gear. So we'll just throw it all together and hopefully it spins now. Is it gonna work?
I don't know, dude.
I'm losing faith.
I think it'll be better.
Ah! It has so much more power, dude. What did that do?
I don't know, but that was violent.
That was way scary. I don't know about that.
That was way different than the last one.
That was so powerful. How do we test this in a safer way?
I don't know. We could get thicker wire, but
Holy cow, that is fast.
that was intense.
Oh!
What just happened?
I don't know, but it is spinning pretty fast.
I think we locked up.
Yeah, I think we locked up.
Something's broken. I don't know what. All right, let's see what happened here. This gear's fine. Everything in the case seems fine.
Okay.
That gear seems fine. I was expecting these ones to fail, honestly.
Yeah, same.
I think... Oh,
Yep.
that's what broke. The only piece that I didn't print 100% infill failed. But we have a plan for that. We first have to get all of this junk out of here. But then we have some billet components that are going to be going in. When I say billet, I mean we reprinted this entire turbo out of a material called PETG, which is like 100 times stronger than what we used to print this turbo, and it's heat resistant. So we're gonna reassemble a version 2 and see if it can't hold up to the power. We got the Bum Turbo V2, and this thing looks super strong. We cut out some of the gaps that we had in the earlier print. We also added one more bearing to the shaft that broke last time, and it's time to test it out and see if it works.
I hope it works better.
I'm not super confident, but this one does give me a little more confidence because it just seems better. All right.
Time to test it out.
I'm scared. Oh!
It's working.
It blew air onto the table,
It
dude.
did.
That's crazy. That's fast.
That is really fast.
And it sounds so much better than the other one. The other one was like... This one is nice. Now that we have a functioning 3D printed turbo, it's time to come over here and slap it on our dirt bike and see if that improves its performance at all. The really cool thing about this being an electric turbo and not a normal turbo is we can put this thing kind of wherever we want to put it because it doesn't have to connect to the exhaust. So I'm kind of thinking we'll just put it somewhere around here. Maybe like that. Dude, that actually looks pretty cool.
I like that.
We could just put it like that, and then we could bolt it to the fairings, maybe?
I think that would work, yeah.
It'd probably hold it pretty good, and then we can come off of this and take this piece off, fabricate something onto there so a hose can go from here to there, and then just wire it up and boost away. But before we do that, I want to tell you about today's sponsor and the people making this whole project possible, Bamboo Labs. Bamboo Labs is focused on building user-friendly printers, which allowed me to build this turbo with basically zero knowledge. If you have crazy ideas and you want to start printing, Bamboo is a perfect place to start. This ease of use does not compromise performance at all. Bamboo Labs printers are built to print with precision and accuracy every single time. I mean, just look at this accuracy. It allowed me to inlay words into the turbo. It's super nice. It's 100% infill, and this printed in like 2 hours. We actually just broke the rod that holds the propeller into our turbo, but lucky for us, Bamboo has a solution for that. They have an app called Bamboo Handy, so we can just load up some designs from our phone, choose the color, and print right from the shop, which is great because the printers are at my house and we're at the shop. Even if you don't know how to design anything, that's totally fine. You can still start printing right away with Bamboo Handy. They have a whole catalog of really useful things, and this page goes on forever. You can get knickknacks, you can build little presents for people, you can build tool organizers. I think we need some of those. Look at the shop. I would say we need to print one actually right now, but you get the point. There's so many handy things on here. It's a really great app, and it works really well. Even if you're not building a turbo for your mini bike, 3D printing can be super useful. You can use it to build things for your car that are super expensive or don't even exist. Bamboo also offers a ton of different options when it comes to printers, so let's head over to my house and I'll show you my favorite one. The P1S has to be one of my favorite printers of all time. This thing is super easy to set up. I think it took me about 10 minutes, and with old printers, it used to be just such a hassle. The hobby was not as fun, and you had to have a lot more knowledge about how to put something together. With this thing, it comes out of the box, ready to go. You never have a problem with the prints. I've not had one failed print on this thing. I've printed all of these random little parts, like this battery holder for a DeWalt battery, this thing that is supposed to space that glass piece up, this thing, which is super functional. It's an oil air separator for my Subaru. So you get the point. This thing is crazy cool. If you're into building things, I know you'll like 3D printing. Use the link in our description to get a Bamboo Lab printer today. Wow, that actually seems like something we might not even have to modify. Easy peasy. We don't even have to weld. We haven't welded this whole episode.
That's pretty nice. That's really rare.
It feels kind of weird, but some people have been asking for that, so there you go. Episode without welding. Yo! That looks official.
That is gonna work.
That's like the best routing we've ever done
Yeah, simple.
on such a simple project. Now that our turbo is mounted and our boost pipe is connected, all we've got to do is connect our wiring. All right, we got all our wiring figured out, and this button should make this turbo produce boost. Let's see if it works. Oh! Boost!
It's actually working.
That works pretty good.
Yeah, it does.
All right, let's tidy up this switch, figure out where to put it, and go test this thing. We've got our turbo set up out on the drag strip, and we're about to see if this is gonna make an improvement to our little dirt bike at all. We've got 2 tests we're gonna be putting it through. We're gonna be putting it through an acceleration test, and we're gonna be putting it through a top speed test. First, we'll do the acceleration test, where we test this out NA, no turbo, and then we'll add the turbo. Because it's electric, we can just turn it on. Then we'll go into a top speed test, do that the same way, and hopefully pick up a little power. We're gonna start our acceleration test on this line. Taylor will go down there with a stopwatch. It's kind of a rudimentary way of testing this, but I think it will give us a rough idea of if this system's doing anything. I don't have any room anymore, dude.
Yeah,
Like,
it's pretty crammed.
barely. And this chain setup is so sketchy. Right next to your foot, you have to really watch out for that.
All right, you ready? 3, 2, 1, go! All right, 6.1. Not bad, not bad.
Dude, this thing is so sketchy.
Yeah, it's got bent forks, so
The
that makes
forks
sense.
are bent, and when your knee goes over next to the turbo, it starts sucking your clothes in.
Really?
It starts sucking my pant leg in.
Yeah, we got 6.1.
6.1?
Yeah,
So 6.1 is the time to beat.
yeah.
All right, let's do it.
3, 2, 1, go! Beat it.
Dude,
What?
the turbo does something really weird.
What's it do?
It like does boost you.
Dude, this is faster.
Seriously?
5.9.
Even with the problem I had, because I pressed it at first, and I think our fuel ratio on the carb's off a little bit because
Yeah.
we tuned it to be a little more rich. And it like cut all power, and then all of a sudden, just shoo!
Dang.
I think it's actually working. I think we might be able to get a faster top speed.
That would be pretty awesome. We gotta try.
Let's test it out. That acceleration test was a ton of fun, but there's a lot of room for human error, so we're gonna do a top speed test straight down the runway as far as we can go, see if we can't get a faster top speed with this turbo. But before we do that, we're gonna do an NA test without the turbo and see how fast this bike can go for a baseline. I'm kind of scared of this speed test. This little bike has been through a lot. It's really bent up, and it wiggles tremendously while you're trying to steer. But we'll see how it goes. We've just got this simple GPS on our phone. A lot of you guys have been asking. I think it is literally it's called speedometer. So if you want to get this for your dirt bikes, here it is. We're just gonna hit the record button. So we've got our time, and we'll send it.
All right.
All right. I forget how fast this little bike is, dude. It whips.
You were hauling.
I got the shivers.
Yeah, it looks scary.
That had to be about 40. Let's see. Let's check the GPS. 39 miles an hour.
Okay.
That is pretty quick.
Yeah, that's really fast.
I don't know with this gearing if this turbo setup really is going to have the power we need to increase that, but if it does, that's pretty incredible. 39 miles an hour is the time to beat. We've got this Insta360 right here monitoring the turbo, so you guys know we're not cheating. I'm gonna hold this button down right here the whole time I'm going. We'll send it as hard as we can, see if we can't improve that top speed. Just press this like that, and you get your turbo. Let's see if this makes a difference, or if it was a waste of time. It wasn't a waste of time, it was still a lot of fun to make, but I really want to see if this improves anything about our little dirt bike.
Sounds like something possibly bad happened.
That test run was a fail. The turbo was cooking, and maybe it was cooking a little too much. I think it completely melted itself together. You can't spin this turbine anymore, so I'm gonna pull it off the bike, see what happens, see if we can't fix it, and go for another run. It doesn't even really look like we took any damage. This piece must have just had too close of a clearance to this piece, and it's like forged together. But I bet you if we just slide that knife under there, we should be able to break the fusion and it should spin again. I think we'll put some high heat grease or something in there. Maybe loosen up the clearances a little bit so that that doesn't happen again.
Nothing crazy going on here, just a roadside turbo rebuild.
A plastic turbo rebuild on the side of the road. But I feel like we've upgraded our turbo yet again. We added some grease to the inside of where that propeller spins, and it's spinning way better. It kind of sounded like really grubby when we turned it on last time.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna have those same problems.
I think this one's gonna do. I think this one's gonna work. We're learning as we go. This might be why people don't make plastic turbos though.
Okay, she goes back on.
Hopefully everything's fixed. I really want to do this run. I feel like it's gonna be faster, and a rainstorm's coming in, so
I know.
we're working as fast as we can, but I don't know what's gonna happen.
We can only work so fast.
The turbo is put back together and it functions. So we're gonna do the speed test before this huge storm hits, and hopefully we can go a little bit faster. That was violent. All right, 40 miles an hour, 42, let's go. Dude, but the engine just cut out. It won't restart. I think we might have blown up this motor. It might be the last time this motor actually works. But it's the time of truth. What did we get on our top speed?
You were going really fast, it seemed like.
It felt like I was going faster. It felt like I had boost, and I had to have my leg out because of this camera right here. So I was even a little less aerodynamic. Oh.
What is it?
Dude, you will not believe.
Is it over 40?
42.1.
Dang.
That is 3 miles an hour faster than our last top speed.
Yeah.
That's insane.
That is significant.
That's a significant increase. Same distance, less aerodynamics. We might have blown up our motor, but I don't know if it's boost. I don't know what it is. That turbo is doing something.
So I think it might be a win.
I would call that a win. All right, that's it for this build. This turbo was a ton of fun to make. We learned a lot, and we found that even if it's not boosting, I don't know what it's doing, it's increasing the power of our little dirt bike, which is super crazy cool. We had a couple of failures. We learned from them. We rebuilt this turbo. It still works, which is insane. And yeah, this was just a learning experience all around. It was a great time. If you guys liked this video, make sure to subscribe, and we'll see you next week. Action.